The air inside the Delta Center is thick with noise, with desperation, with 18,000 souls who believe tonight is the night they finally break you. It's June 11th, 1997, Salt Lake City, Utah, Game 5 of the NBA Finals, and you can barely stand. Your body is a furnace. Your muscles are screaming. 12 hours ago, you were curled in a fetal position in your hotel room, shivering under blankets while food poisoning ripped through your system like wildfire. Some say it was a bad pizza. Others whisper sabotage. You don't care about the cause. You only care about one thing: winning. Scottie Pippen wraps his arm around your waist and helps you to the bench during timeouts. Your eyes are hollow sunken. The Jazz crowd sees weakness. They smell blood. Karl Malone and John Stockton have home court advantage and a 3-2 series lead in their grasp if they take this game. But they don't know you. Not really. When the fourth quarter begins, something ancient awakens inside your chest. You hit a three-pointer, then another. Your legs wobble, but your hands are steady. With 25 seconds left, the game tied, you rise up from the top of the key and drain the dagger. 38 points, on the verge of collapse. In enemy territory. As the final buzzer sounds, you stumble into Pippen's arms, completely spent. The image becomes immortal, a warrior who refused to die. But how does a man reach this moment? How does a boy who was told he wasn't good enough become the greatest to ever play the game? This is the story of Michael Jordan, and nothing about it was guaranteed. You were born on February 17, 1963, in Brooklyn, New York. But Brooklyn wasn't home. Not really. Home was Wilmington, North Carolina, a working-class neighborhood on Gordon Road where dreams were modest and survival was the primary currency. Your family moved south when you were a toddler, chasing stability, chasing something better. Your father, James Jordan, worked at a General Electric plant, overseeing heavy machinery, coming home with grease under his fingernails and exhaustion in his bones. But he never complained. Not once. He built a basketball court in the backyard from scraps because he saw something in you, a restlessness, a hunger, a need to compete that burned hotter than any furnace at the plant. Your mother, Dolores, was the foundation. She worked at a bank, stretching every dollar, making sure 5 children had food on the table, clothes on their backs, and discipline in their spines. She didn't tolerate excuses. She didn't accept shortcuts. When you acted out in school, she was there. When you doubted yourself, she was there. And you needed her most in the fall of 1978. You were 15 years old, a sophomore at Emsley A. Laney High School. Basketball tryouts had consumed your thoughts for weeks. You practiced in the backyard until the sun disappeared. You played against your older brother Larry, 5'7", relentless, the one who taught you that size means nothing when your heart is bigger than your body. The roster went up on the gymnasium wall. You scanned the list once, twice, 3 times. Your name wasn't there. Coach Clifton Herring had made his choice. Leroy Smith, a 6'7" sophomore, made varsity. You were relegated to junior varsity, a boy nobody believed in. You walked home that afternoon with your chest caving in. You climbed the stairs to your bedroom, closed the door, and cried. Not soft tears, the kind of crying that comes from your stomach, from a place so deep you didn't know it existed. Your mother found you there. You have a choice, Dolores said, standing in your doorway. You can feel sorry for yourself, or you can go back and prove to that coach he made a mistake. You chose the second option. That winter, you dominated junior varsity. 35 points, 40 points, numbers that made the scorekeepers double-check their sheets. But you weren't satisfied. Every morning before school, you snuck into the varsity practice, watching from the shadows, studying the older players, memorizing their movements. You grew 4 inches that year. Your body stretched, but your mind stretched further. The rejection didn't destroy you, it built you. Coach Herring would later admit he regretted the decision. Leroy Smith would become a footnote, and you would become Michael Jordan. But first, you had to prove it to the world. Chapel Hill, North Carolina. The fall of 1981. You arrived at the University of North Carolina as an 18-year-old freshman with long limbs, raw talent, and a legendary coach named Dean Smith. Coach Smith didn't care about potential. He cared about execution, about discipline, about fitting into a system that had produced champions for decades. You were not supposed to start. Freshmen at Carolina earned their minutes through patience. But Coach Smith saw something different in you, a fearlessness that couldn't be coached, a clutch gene that only reveals itself in fire. March 29, 1982, the Louisiana Superdome in New Orleans, the NCAA National Championship game, North Carolina versus Georgetown, Dean Smith versus John Thompson. And across from you stood Patrick Ewing, a 7-foot intimidator who blocked shots like personal insults. The Hoyas led by 1 point, with 17 seconds remaining. 63,000 fans held their breath. Coach Smith called timeout and drew up a play. "Knock it in, Michael." The ball swung around the perimeter. You caught it on the left wing, 16 feet from the basket. Georgetown's defense recovered. The clock melted. You rose up and released. The ball arced through the humid air, spinning perfectly, and fell through the net like it had no other choice. Carolina wins. Pandemonium erupts. And somewhere in that chaos, Michael Jordan became a name America would never forget. 2 years later, you declared for the NBA draft. The Houston Rockets selected Hakeem Olajuwon first overall. The Portland Trail Blazers, needing a center, took Sam Bowie with the second pick. The Chicago Bulls called your name at number 3. Portland's decision would haunt them for decades. You would make sure of it. Your rookie season was a revelation. 28.2 points per game. The slam dunk contest crown in 1988, taking flight from the free throw line with your tongue out and the world watching. Rookie of the Year. All-star starter. And yet, the Bulls kept losing in the playoffs. You were spectacular. But spectacular wasn't enough. In 1988, you achieved something unprecedented. NBA Defensive Player of the Year and Slam Dunk Champion in the same season. You proved that brilliance wasn't just a fence. It was everywhere. But championships remained elusive, and you were just getting started. They called you Air Jordan. They called you His Airness. But the name that would echo through eternity was simpler. The greatest. Your first championship came in 1991. The Los Angeles Lakers, Magic Johnson's team, fell in 5 games. You wept holding that trophy, burying your face in its golden surface, releasing years of doubt and criticism. Your father sat in the stands, tears streaming down his cheeks. It was the first of 6. 1991, 1992, 1993. The first three-peat. The Chicago Bulls became a dynasty, with Scottie Pippen as your partner, Phil Jackson as your Zen master, and you as the beating heart that refused to stop. The moments became mythology. May 7, 1989. The Cleveland Cavaliers. Game 5 of the first round. 3 seconds left. Cavs up by 1. Craig Elo, a capable defender, is draped all over you. The inbound pass comes, you catch, dribble once and elevate. Time freezes. Elo jumps with you, but you hang in the air a half-second longer. Just enough. The ball leaves your fingertips as the buzzer wails. It falls through the net. You pump your fist. Elo crumbles to the floor. The shot, they called it. The first of many. The 1992 finals against Portland. Game 1, you hit 6 three-pointers in the first half, a record. After the 6th, you turned to the broadcast table and shrugged, palms up as if to say, "I can't explain it either." That shrug became iconic. Cocky, yet honest. You were surprising even yourself. Then came the Dream Team. Barcelona 1992. You, Magic, Bird, Barkley, Malone, Stockton, Ewing. The greatest collection of basketball talent ever assembled. You won by an average of 44 points per game. The world watched in awe. Basketball became a global language, and you were its most fluent speaker. The Detroit Pistons, the Bad Boys, had tortured you for years. Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer, Dennis Rodman. They invented the Jordan rules, a physical scheme designed to brutalize you every time you touched the ball. They beat you in 1988, 1989, and 1990. In 1991, you swept them. When the final buzzer sounded, they walked off the court without shaking your hand. You didn't care. Their era was over. Yours had just begun. 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs. You never lost a finals series, 10 scoring titles, 5 regular season MVPs, a career scoring average of 30.1 points per game, the highest in NBA history. But the numbers don't capture what made you different. It was the will, the refusal to lose, the ability to drag teammates into greatness whether they wanted it or not. You challenged them, pushed them, sometimes broke them. But those who survived became champions. The game had never seen anyone like you. It never would again. On July 23, 1993, the world you knew collapsed. Your father, James Jordan, was driving home through Lumberton, North Carolina. He pulled over to rest on the side of Highway 74. 2 teenagers approached his car, saw the luxury vehicle, and made a decision that would destroy 2 families forever. They shot him, they stole the car, they dumped his body in a South Carolina swamp where it remained unidentified for 11 days. When you received the news, something inside you shattered. James Jordan was more than your father. He was your best friend, your compass, your reason. He attended every game he could. He sat in the stands with that familiar smile, the one that told you everything was going to be okay. Now that smile was gone, forever. On October 6, 1993, you stood before the media and announced your retirement. You were 30 years old, a 3-time champion, at the absolute peak of your powers. I have nothing more to prove in basketball, you said. But the truth was simpler and more painful. You couldn't play without him watching. You chased your father's dream instead. James always believed you could have been a baseball player. So you signed with the Chicago White Sox organization and reported to the Birmingham Barons, a Double-A minor league team. The world mocked you, a .202 batting average, strikeouts, errors. Tabloids ran stories about gambling debts, about checks written to golf hustlers, about a book by Richard Esquinas claiming you'd lost over $1 million betting on golf. They called you weak. They called you foolish. They questioned whether you'd ever return, but you were grieving. And grief doesn't follow schedules. In Birmingham, you rode buses for hours through small southern towns. You signed autographs for children who didn't care about your failures. You learned humility in a way basketball never taught you. And slowly, quietly, you healed. On March 18, 1995, 2 words electrified the sports world. I'm back. You returned to the Bulls. The championship in 1996 came with 72 regular season wins, the greatest record in NBA history at that time. You won 3 more titles, you retired, came back again with Washington, retired for good in 2003. But the numbers only tell part of the story. The Air Jordan brand, launched in 1985, revolutionized athlete endorsements. Nike paid $5,000 per game in fines because your red and black shoes violated league uniform rules. They didn't care. Neither did you. Today, the Jordan brand generates over $5 billion annually. You became the first athlete to achieve billionaire status primarily through brand equity. The Jumpman silhouette, your silhouette, is one of the most recognized logos on earth. Kids in São Paulo, Lagos, Tokyo, and Berlin grew up wanting to be like Mike. You didn't just dominate basketball. You transformed what athletes could become. You proved that excellence in your craft could translate into global empire. The GOAT debate continues. LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Names are thrown around, statistics compared, eras analyzed. But when people close their eyes and picture basketball perfection, they see you. Tongue out, flying through the air, hand raised after the final shot falls. That image will never fade. So what can we learn from Michael Jordan? That rejection is not the end, it's the beginning. That grief can break you or build you. That greatness isn't given, it's forged through failure, through pain, through an unwillingness to surrender when every voice tells you to quit. You don't have to be the most talented. You don't have to be the tallest, the fastest, the strongest. You have to be the most relentless. Michael Jordan taught us that the fire inside matters more than anything outside. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment telling me which legend you want to see next. And share this video with someone who needs to hear that their setback might be the setup for something extraordinary. Because somewhere out there, a 15-year-old just got cut from the team. And this story is for them.